Hey, Axel here. In this video, I have my friend Cody Mathis.
I'm a DP and colorist, and we're going to talk mainly about pre-production, especially from a DP's perspective, how we can help with the director, DP getting on the same page with some lookbooks, lighting diagrams, and kind of just go from there.
But before we get started, make sure you hit the like button and drop a comment, even if it's just to say, hey Cody. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. As a DP, when you go into the project, what is one of the first things that you do to get ready for it?
For me, the most important thing is making sure that the director, whether that's you, whoever, and the DP can get on the same page. Come in and saying, this is what I have to offer, this is what I want to do. But rather kind of dissect what you're already thinking and saying, where do you want to take this? What should this look like?
First film that Cody and I worked together is a short film called Done with Mirrors. I was interviewing different DPs and I was trying to figure out, okay, who's the best person to work on this film with. The whole thing changed for us was this lookbook that you made. I had no idea that you were going to show us that on the initial meeting.
When I was in film school, I never even really thought about lookbook. Like, I always thought of it something kind of like the director did, just to kind of like get ideas across. And I was listening to the Wondering DP podcast with Patrick O'Sullivan, and he speaks strongly about making like a DP lookbook, right? So that's where I kind of got this idea from. Hey, these are kind of like a group of images I'm thinking of, but it also kind of lets me get a better understanding of what the director's thinking. One of the, first scenes or whatever, it's like this bedroom scene that we did. There's so many questions that like go through my head when I'm first reading the script. So to get the best understanding from a director on what you want it to look like, I can kind of create a page with a whole bunch of images that have a lot of similarities, but also like some key differences. I come to the table with the director, I can say, okay, these are some blanket ideas.
Like general, like what are you seeing when you read the script?
Yeah. It allows me to sit down with the director and say, yeah, I like this one. I don't like this one. Okay, well, why do you like this one? What's working for you in this one, and what's not working for you in this one? Because then we can try to avoid those things.
Like when someone is doing a lookbook, should they do it, break down the short by scene, or what's the best way, you think?
For a short specifically, I like to break it down by scene, because usually there's not like a ton of scenes, right? Because like if there's like hundreds of scenes, that's going to be a lot of work to like create a lookbook for each one of those. I like to take the script, read through, do another read through, and then maybe on the third one, split it up into scenes, read that individual scene and say, what's the mood I'm feeling? So then I can go search for kind of some context of that. I started to create a folder structure on my computer where I just save, a screenshot of a movie that I come across. So then when I come back to like, say I need a bedroom scene, I can basically go in and I have, interior, bedroom, and then...
So it makes it a lot easier for you to create. Because that's one of the things for me. When I was in film school, they always say, oh, you have to do this lookbook. I looked at it as homework, and I was like, no, lookbook? Like, I'm not making no lookbook. Like, I don't have time for that. I know what I want. But then when you actually get to work on projects, you see these lookbooks, because I have done this in other projects, and it really helps everyone to see what you have in your head.
Yeah.
But the downside is another thing that I have to do. I don't want to spend hours. So I really like that idea that constantly you're keeping screenshots of things that you like.
Yeah.
And that way you just reference.
Yeah, and it makes it not only quick, but also like it helps me from a lighting perspective.
The next point that we want to talk about is this lighting diagrams that you also had in that lookbook.
Pre-production and the lighting diagrams are something that allowed me to get one step ahead. Otherwise, you show up to set and you're like, well, this is what I want to look like, but then you're scrambling on kind of where do I need to place lights to make it look like that. To sit down and to kind of craft that look before I even get on set. I use a software called Concepts, but basically what you do is you'll craft your scene from like an above down look, or if you have photos from like on set, you can bring those into that as well, and then you can just draw right onto them. So I'll draw like, oh, I think this light here and this light here. The process that I go through is kind of mathematical, which is where it can get a little confusing. Yeah. So I use another app called like ARRI Photometrics. So if I'm using ARRI lights, I can go on their app and it tells me we have a sky panel that's 25 feet away. This is how much light it's going to be throwing. right?
And that's where it gets complicated. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm out.
So then when I show up on set, I already have a good idea of where everything's going to be. And it's a matter of just tweaking instead of having to create the entire look. You know, when in high school, you'd get like notes from like your friend or something because you weren't there that day of class. And you look at the notes and you're like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah. That's what a lighting diagram's like. Like, it's like the DP's personal notes, and it's like, what does this even mean, right?
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is there's this new software that's out, and it's made by Matt Workman.
Okay.
You can follow his YouTube page, Cinematography
Yeah,
DB.
I've seen lots of his videos.
He created this new software called Cinetracer. It's the most revolutionary thing I've ever seen. You can, in 3D space, completely create your scene and bring in actual, like, real-world lights. Like, you can bring in, like, a sky panel and, you know, like, RE tungsten lights or whatever. Completely create, oh, this is where I'm going to put my lights. Even, like, this is where the actors are going to be, and this is, like, the actors blocking. And you can do all of that. So then, instead of showing you this lighting diagram that you're going to look at and not understand, I can send you like a full 3D rendered space and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking lighting wise. What do you think?
Now, isn't that like overkill? Isn't that too much? Because I've seen those videos and I'm always like, yeah, but I'll never use that on a small project. Maybe on like a big movie that you have money and time to like buy the software and sit down and do all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, money, it's only $80.
Really?
Yeah. So you can go on Steam right now and buy it for $80.
I always thought that it was going to be like $200.
Yeah, I know,
or
it's
like
incredible.
$400.
Yeah. Matt Workman has made it so easy to bring everything in and create your scene. Like, for a DP, it would totally be worth it to just take one day out of your time of pre-production, go inside the software, create your scene with all the 3D lights. From your director's standpoint, if I came to you with like a 3D constructed scene, all lit and everything, and I said, hey, it's going to look like pretty much like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean,
you'll get the job, yeah.
It's pretty incredible, yeah.
For me as a director, if I see that the DP has that cover, it's like, like I don't have to worry about that, you know? You have to save time, you have to save money and all of that, but you want to be on the same page with the people that you're working with. You show up on set, you think that you're making this movie, but then the director is making this movie, the actor is making this movie, the DP is making this other movie, and it's already hard enough to like make something that if you don't have everyone on the same page, it's like a nightmare.
The DP's job, or even like the editor's job, or whoever is helping the director, it's our job to come in as kind of like a dream interpreter. You have the vision, or like you have the dream. So we come in and we're like, okay, you know, is your dream about a pirate ship? And kind of like gauging your response to those types of questions to understand what you're actually seeing. But also enhance that dream when we can, right? And enhance the clarity of that dream. When you're dreaming, you see like a big picture, and you wake up and you remember kind of like the big picture of what happened.
Yeah.
So as a DP, I can come in and I can say, did you see it blue, orange? You know what I mean? Things like that. And that gives me such a better idea.
You get a lot of information with cameras and lenses, but this is also as important as those things. And I'm really happy that Cody was able to meet with us today and talk about these things.
Production's great and fun. That's the most fun part. Pre-production is like where the work actually gets done.
Well, hopefully you find this video useful. If you can, hit the like button and drop us comments with any questions that you might have, and Cody's going to be answering. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in another one.